Welcome to the channel. I'm Justin B. McBride, and behind me is not my Jeep Cool Rick. No, this is a 4-door Outer Banks Bronco in antimatter blue with a soft top. This does not, however, have the Sasquatch package. And originally I was kind of bummed about that, but looking at it now, I'm excited because a lot of the stuff that gets sent to me is usually top of the line stuff. And this here, it's kind of rudimentary. It doesn't have the larger screen, the auxiliary switches, doesn't even have a hard top, right? But I think it falls into more people's budget. So giving an honest answer on the capabilities of this vehicle and things that might be a little trimmed down is probably more beneficial to you as the viewer. And rather than driving this around for like the next 3 weeks and then putting out one video at the end of it, we're gonna just make a whole bunch of videos and we're gonna discover all this stuff together because I think it's more fun that way. And I know you wish this was in your garage and I'm lucky enough to have it in mine. So let's just give you the exact same experience and learn together. I do want to let you know that this video is being sponsored by Squarespace. They have everything you need for your online presence, from domain hosting to e-commerce. If you haven't checked them out yet, you should. You can use my code McBride for 10% off at checkout, or squarespace.com/McBride. So the first thing that I want to get figured out is a place to mount my phone. There really isn't a spot to set your phone down here in the center console area. So up top, they do have the accessory ready mount. This does not have an accessory rail right now, so we're just gonna throw in a 1/4-20. I've kind of made this makeshift 67 Designs arm that should work just fine to hold my phone. It does have wireless CarPlay, so that's pretty rad. I don't have to figure out how to run a cable or anything. I can just slap my phone in there and be done with it and still have CarPlay operating like I would in the Jeep, but without cables. So that arm is too short and my phone actually ends up touching the dash. Not ideal. So instead I ended up MacGyvering this thing here. So this is that same arm and then a micro arm with the phone mount. Lets me bend it as well, put it at funny angles, but that should extend it so it doesn't touch the dash. This will not be my permanent solution. I would prefer a single arm that's just longer, so I'm going to order one of those up. And then on top of that, a full rail would just be so much nicer. Having a full rail across that whole dash up here, that's what we need. That's what we really need. So let's at least start here. I will link down to the arm I end up ordering below. It just needs to be a smidge longer. So that's what we'll do. And for now, we'll run with this. Next, I need to figure out a good spot for a camera. I think I'm gonna just go the good old-fashioned suction cup on a windshield. So we're gonna build one of those out of some 67 Designs parts and suction something up to probably the passenger side so you get a good shot. I mean, it'll look similar to that, I think. So we'll put that kind of over there with a GoPro and then a mic on that GoPro. And that will give us a decent interior setup. I've also got a little mount back here that I can set up an over-the-shoulder GoPro shot. So we'll get driving shots over the shoulder and then we'll have the camera up on the windshield. So let's set up some GoPros. Okay, over here on the passenger side, I've got my GoPro arm rigged up. We're gonna get this to fit over here in the it's too tall over here in the windshield. We're gonna have to play with angles and things, probably have to move the microphone to the side of the GoPro, but this is a GoPro Hero 9 and then the Rode NTG, I think they call it an NTG Plus. I'm sure it says it on there and I just can't find it. Anyway, I'm gonna use this microphone just because the camera is so far away from me as a driver. I'm hoping that gives me a little bit more direction. Yeah, so we're just gonna play with the arm, play with the configuration, see what we can get to fit up in here. All right, I've got it set up here. I think it looks really good in this spot, tied up in the corner, really great. Gives a good perspective of the driver. So I'm gonna stick with this. It works. Obviously, if you're sitting here passenger, I will not have this up here. It doesn't make sense. But while it's just you and me out, filming, having a good time, I need to have this. And the other good thing is it's voice activated. So I don't have to reach over and touch it at all. I just go, hey GoPro, stop recording. And it does. Isn't that awesome? That is like, that's killer. So I won't have to touch it, won't have to do anything. Voice activation works. That's great. And now we're just gonna set up that one. The one that goes over the shoulder, gives us that nice driving perspective out the windshield, showing the dash, whatever's happening, as if you're riding in it. A lot of times I set the GoPro up on a rail and really close to the windshield. I'm really looking forward to having one that's more of that interior experience. I think you'll appreciate it more, especially as you see what might be happening on the dash or as I'm moving the wheel. So we're gonna set up an over the shoulder and then I I think we'll go for a cruise. I might try and get my max tracks on the rear tire. There's one thing that scares me there. We'll talk about that. It's the rear camera, but we'll show you in detail here in a minute. But let me get this over the shoulder set up. Okay, here we go. GoPro number 2 mounted on this arm. I do wish it was just a little bit longer to center that shot better, but for an over the shoulder, this will work. This will get us exactly what we were hoping for, and both of them are voice activated. So in one command, I can begin recording and stop recording on both of these without having to touch anything but the steering wheel. That is, I love that. I absolutely love it. What's the last thing? Oh yeah, max tracks. I've mentioned that like 3 times. Let's go see what we can do there. All right, so I've got to pull the Bronco out and reverse it in. Let's test out these 2 GoPros, see how it looks. Good news, this over-the-shoulder camera is not blocking my mirror at all. So that's pretty rad. All right, there we go. Back in the back of the garage here. I don't know if this is gonna work. The camera sticks out past the tire, and the way that the max tracks are gonna sit on it, I don't think it's gonna work because they have to center on the tire, and the camera is centered on the tire. Darn it. Let's try it. Let's see what we get. But I'm not holding my breath. All right, the max tracks are on, and that camera fits right in the middle channel. So this middle extrusion, the camera is fitting right inside of that, which is ideal. There is a little bag giving it some protection as well, but I can fit my fingers around it, so it seems to be fitting. It does seem a little loose, but I think that's because I had to put it on upside down. The top ratchet strap and the rear brake light were touching, so I flipped it, so that ratchet strap is on bottom now, but it seems to be just fine. It seems to work really great. So that gives me a little peace of mind knowing that if I'm gonna take this thing off-road, I've got a little bit of protection to get, you know, myself unstuck, hopefully. So that gives me my phone mount, gives me some GoPros, the max tracks. I think the last thing we gotta do is just go for a drive and see how this thing does. So this is not my first drive with the Bronco, but this will be our first off-road drive with the Bronco, so you get to join me on that. We actually flew to Denver this last weekend and picked this up and drove it the 700 plus miles home. When we picked it up, it had about 300 miles on it. Right now we're sitting at 1115, so pretty good. This is a kind of a popular area here along the Wasatch Front. It's called the Bountiful Bee. It's kind of where everybody comes to take their vehicle off-road for the first time. So we're gonna just lean into that cliche and bring the Bronco up here. As far as my experiences up here, it's a pretty drive. It's easy. It's not technical by any means, but I think this is the kind of thing that someone who buys the Outer Banks would drive. This is kind of the stuff that they should expect to experience. So we're gonna just cruise on up past this and probably throw it into the off-road goat mode once we get off of the pavement here. So far, I mean, this is all right. This is washboarded, and I actually think it's kind of comfortable. It's stock suspension, but for stock suspension with that independent front, I think this feels pretty good. And dirt. So let's throw it into, what do they call that? Just off-road? Mud and ruts, I guess? Okay, so it's shifting into four-wheel drive right now. Done. I think it locked up the rear diff. I don't need that, so we're gonna just pop that rear diff off. And then just like that, the rear diff's unlocked. That's pretty, all right, that's pretty cool. That was very, very simple. So now we can just kind of cruise up here. This is actually really comfortable. like I'm moving around. I feel like this is really comfortable. I didn't air down or anything. We just went straight for it. Yeah, I've got to say this is really comfortable. Oh man, I don't even have words. I'm gonna just keep saying it. Like, wow, I am enjoying this. So yeah, just putting it in that goat mode, threw it into 4 high for us, and it did lock the rear diff, which we don't need on this. But I gotta say, I am just feeling good. Wow, this feels great. This is a cakewalk. I just was up here helping out with the recovery a few weeks ago, and driving this with the Jeep rattled my teeth out. And that was aired down and softened up my suspension, everything. But here at 40 PSI, no adjustment to suspension because you can't on this, I am far more comfortable than I was in the Jeep. Far more comfortable. What an experience. What an incredible experience. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable telling someone this is a very nice ride off-road on washboarded roads. This is great. This is very nice. Well, I have got to say, this little Outer Banks has surpassed my expectations. What an incredible vehicle, off the lot, stock everything. I mean, full tire pressure, and that was a more comfortable ride than what I get on my Jeep that has $5,000 suspension. I loved it. I love this thing. And in what, 2.5, 3 weeks, I've got to give it back, and that is going to be the hardest thing for me to do. Today was pleasant. Loved it. And I thought the whole time, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out, I'm going to take it on a trail that, you know, it's pretty easy. It's the one everybody goes on. It's the one up Bountiful. It's got the view. It's going to be basic. And I've got to tell you, I did not put this thing through any paces, and I regret that. I could have done a lot more to test this out. So we've got a lot more to do over the next 3 weeks. This thing is just spectacular. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And as a reminder, Squarespace is the sponsor of this video. If you have not had a chance to check out Squarespace yet, what's stopping you? Get on it. If you have any sort of internet presence, you should have a website, and Squarespace is the easiest place to build one. They have award-winning templates that are just beautiful, easy to make adjustments to. You can make them yours in no time. You could start a website today and have it published by dinner time. I'm not kidding you, it is that simple, and it's gonna be beautiful. I have been using Squarespace for years, and no one has ever visited my site and said, hey Justin, you've got a really ugly website. Never. That's never happened to me. So you're gonna have a beautiful website no matter which template you choose. They've got one for everything. You've got a restaurant? Go to Squarespace. You've got an online store? Go to Squarespace. You've got just a social media presence? Go to Squarespace. You've got a wedding coming up? Go to Squarespace. All of it is on Squarespace. Everything, including domain hosting, mail lists, analytics, it's all there, and it's all easy to use. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right here, right now, that you can save 10% on your Squarespace purchase by using the code McBride at checkout, or just visit squarespace.com/McBride. And there you go. You'll even get a free week trial. So nothing is really stopping you. Go try Squarespace now. It is gonna be life-changing for you. Squarespace.com/McBride. All right, let's drive down the mountain now. On our way down the hill, here we go. The scenic back way. This is comfortable. I'm so excited, and I mean, I'm probably gonna say it every time I'm in this. It has taken me by complete surprise. Absolute complete surprise. So, very comfortable ride. Cannot recommend this enough. Just for a stock vehicle that's not Sasquatch, that isn't the Badlands, I am blown away. Absolutely blown away. Just love it. So, I want to know what I can do to help answer your questions. Ask them below if you've got questions about this model, others. I'll do what I can to answer them. Again, I'm going to have this for 2.5 to 3 weeks. It's going to be the hardest thing in the world to get back, but I'm going to have I can't really give away details on it just yet, just because things have been so spotty. It's actually changed on me once at least. So until I have it in the garage, I'm not going to really talk much about it, or until it's on a truck for delivery or something. So for now, let's talk about this one. Let's talk about this 4-door Outer Banks antimatter blue soft top. What can I answer for you? Okay, let's just end it there. That does it for me. If you liked the video, then please like the video. If you have a question, leave me a comment. And if you want to hang out again, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, I'm Justin B. McBride.